Northwestern Chronicles, Episode 41, Bertie and Bulgy's Wild Rematch. One day, Bertie the bus was waiting at Ellsbridge Station. His friend Thomas had been later than usual. Finally, Thomas arrived with the train packed full of passengers. "Hello, Bertie," he greeted. "I have an important passenger." "Oh, really? Who is it?" Sir Topham Hatt proudly stepped out of Annie and approached Bertie. "Bertie, good to see things are running on schedule here." "Indeed, sir. What brings you to Ellsbridge?" "Well, I want to attract some investors and railway board members to give some money to the railway so we can get started on some more projects. The best way to do that is through fundraisers." "What are fundraisers, sir?" "They're basically when you gather a bunch of people to collect money from in order to fund a cause or project. In this case, the fundraiser will be held at Ulfstead Castle, and I've invited numerous guests." "That sounds nice, sir. But where do I come into this?" "Well, since the fundraiser will be taking place in the evening, I'll need all the transportation I can muster, which is why I've invited Thomas and Edward, along with you and Bulgy, to help out." Bertie felt honored. "Thank you, sir. I'd be happy to help in any way I can." "You and Thomas must be cut from the same cloth. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know. I'll see you tonight at Knapford." Shortly after, the Fat Controller returned to his seat. The guard's whistle blew, and Thomas left with his train. "See you later, Bertie," and Thomas puffed away. As Bertie waited for the next train, Bulgy the double-decker bus pulled up next to him. "Oh, hello, Bertie. You hear about the party at Ulfstead? Sounds pretty fun." "Indeed." Bertie paused for a moment. "You know, Bulgy, it's been a hot minute since our last race. Maybe this could be the perfect opportunity." "I don't think so, Bertie. I learned my lesson from the last one. Besides, this is the last place we should be racing, not to mention all the important guests the Fat Controller wants to impress." "Oh, that'll be part of the fun. And besides, what better way to impress the guests than to get them there early?" Bulgy paused. "I'll think about it, but there'll have to be some basic ground rules." The Fat Controller had gathered Thomas, Edward, Bertie, and Bulgy at the big station that evening. "All right, everyone, thank you all for being here. I know you've all worked hard all day, so I appreciate your help. Today is an important day for my railway. If we get all the guests to the Earl's estate on time, we'll have a better chance on getting money for new projects. The last passengers are trickling in now, and we'll be ready to go in a few minutes, so just do your best." "Ready, Helen?" "Of course." "Very good. Thomas, we can get moving now." "Right away, sir." With the blow of their whistles, Thomas and Edward quickly left Knapford Station, leaving the two buses behind. "So have you come to a decision?" "I'll race you," replied Bulgy, "but no cutting any corners." "Fair enough. By the way, why are you still here? I was about to ask you the same thing." Two men approached the station. One was wearing an expensive tuxedo. The other appeared more rugged with a less dapper suit. "Excuse me, but are you the bus taking me to Ulfstead?" I guess." "Good, then I'll be riding in the double-decker." "Excuse me, gentlemen, but who are you?" "Why, I am Connor Roberts, member of the Northwestern Railway Board." "And my name is Matthew Conner. I think you're familiar with the Fred Pelhay Coal Company." "We were invited to the party, and plan to get there on time." "Oh, yes, of course. Please, sir, go right ahead." As there was only one more seat available in either bus, both men sat in separate buses. "Good luck, Bulgy. You'll probably need it." "Don't be so sure." A station master offered to oversee the race, and at the blow of his whistle, the two buses roared out of the station. Bertie had quickly gained the upper hand and raced across the smooth road. Bulgy struggled behind, but soon raced after him. Bertie decided to go directly under the iron bridge, while Bulgy opted to go to the viaduct adjacent to it. Up ahead, Alfie had to swerve out of the way of both buses to avoid getting hit. When the buses raced below the arched stone bridge, they unsettled the foundation so much that the bridge collapsed. Both buses were already too occupied with winning the race to go back, but when Bulgy arrived at the airfield, he had to stop suddenly. Blocking him was Laurie. "Laurie, get out of my way! What are you doing here, anyways?" "Sorry," groaned Laurie. "I was asked to stay here in case someone dropped something off." "Why are you two racing so fast, anyways?" Bulgy seethed with fury as he reversed and regained his course. Despite being blocked by Harold, Bertie managed to swerve around the airfield and go past. Bertie's victory lap wouldn't last long, however. Molly was crossing below the drawbridge with her train. When she crossed under, the drawbridge closed, and Bulgy raced above it. Bertie was furious and raced after him. The Duke and Duchess were enjoying a night full of rest, when suddenly Bertie the bus raced behind their house, followed shortly after by Bulgy. The two were disturbed and awakened immediately. "What was that noise?" cried the Duke. "I don't know, but it sounded like a bus," said the Duchess. The Duke and Duchess had a hard time falling back asleep. When the two arrived at Ellsbridge Station, Bertie stopped strategically, but Bulgy kept on going. His back wheel got caught on the track as he tugged and tugged. "Grrr," groaned Bulgy. "I should have known." Finally, his back wheel got uncaught from the rails and he managed to move along. Up ahead was a small viaduct connecting back to Gordon's Hill. They had to be careful, though, not to hit any of the pillars. But Bertie was coming in too fast and smacked right into one of them, causing him to divert. Meanwhile, Bulgy elegantly rolled right past them and through the viaduct. "Serves you right," laughed Bulgy, while Bertie remained. He finally got unstuck and kept moving along. Unlike Bertie, Bulgy opted to go below the quarry and under the construction site. He went by so fast, however, that he rocked the foundation and Boulder knocked over on his platform. The bus had to outrun the fast-paced Boulder, but he ultimately succeeded. All was going well for Bulgy until he had to stop at the Wellsworth crossing. But surprisingly, no train ever came. What he did see, however, was Bertie's driver race back into his cab and drive away. Bulgy realized he had been duped. Bulgy's driver managed to readjust the crossing. Bulgy furiously raced across it and went towards Bertie. The engines of Tim's sheds were resting peacefully after a long day of work, when suddenly Bertie the bus roared by over the turntable, followed shortly after by Bulgy. All the engines were awakened and were most disturbed. Meanwhile, at Ulfstead Castle, the Fat Controller was growing worried. Bertie and Bulgy was nowhere to be seen, and the event was starting soon. "Where are those buses you've asked for?" said the Earl. "Oh, don't worry, I'm sure they'll be here soon." Suddenly, Bulgy emerged from under the viaduct and began to race towards the castle. He was followed shortly after by Bertie, who was losing speed. Sure enough, Bulgy raced to the scene just on time, followed shortly after by Bertie. It seemed that Bulgy had won. "Well, this is quite the surprise, wouldn't you say so, Thomas?" "Indeed. Say, Bertie, what's that doing down the ground over there?" "What do you mean, Thomas?" asked the Fat Controller. "Right down there, sir. It looks like a blue hat." The Fat Controller inspected the hat closely as the other passengers, including the two men from before, exited Bertie and Bulgy. It looks like a bus driver's cap." "It's my driver's hat. He threw it just before you, supposedly won." "What?" said Bulgy. "So, in a way, I technically won." Grunted Bulgy. "Well, I guess in a way, we both won. I won because I was actually faster, and you won because you were wittier. So, in a way, I guess we really did both win." "Well, ignoring the fact that you both took part in a race and probably broke countless railway rules and regulations, I am very pleased with the fact that everyone got here on time. Your Grace, I think now is as good as a time as ever to start the fundraiser." "Ah, yes, of course," said the Earl. "Everyone, please, right inside." Bertie and Bulgy watched as the passengers went inside the castle. The two smiled at each other. "Well, Bertie, you are a formidable foe, but I think, above all, you're a great friend."